Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Cool Water Show, a podcast about the Real Housewives universe. We are here on behalf of Silent Podcast, where we are anything but silent. My name is Kari. I am joined by my co-host Katie. Katie, how are you doing today on Saturday, April 23rd?
Very precise. I'm good. I'm just having a sip of some coffee, just had a bagel, hanging out, just hit my coffee cup on my microphone. I'm doing great.
Nice.
How are you?
Um, I, I'm gonna tell them exactly what I just told you before we
Perfect.
started. So last night I played bingo for one of my good friends from college, actually like my best friend from college. She hosted like a Relay for Life fundraiser, and it was bingo on Zoom, and it was this like 60 something year old couple hosting it, and there's gift card prizes. And so one round, the gift cards you could win were either $100 to Walmart or $100 to Dick's Sporting Goods. And so multiple times throughout that round, she kept saying, "We're playing for Dick's." And I am just like, will literally be sitting here watching television, and I'm laughing out of nowhere because I'm remembering this woman saying, "We're playing for Dick's." So that's how I'm doing. I don't know if that's an emotion, but that's like the best
No,
way I can describe how I
it's
feel
a
right now.
mood. It's a mood.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're playing for dicks today on this
Today
podcast.
we play for. I mean, they played with Dick's on
Yeah,
the boat
there
on
are plenty of
Real.
dicks to talk about.
Maybe that's why. Like, I'm having just a lot of like Dick connection. Okay,
Maybe.
I'm gonna end there, but also maybe that's it.
Could be.
Um, so yeah, that's how I'm doing. Whatever emotion that is, that's the life I'm leading these
Yeah,
days.
just a mantra. Playing for dicks.
Put it on my tombstone. Um, so this week we had the first episode of the Housewives of the Housewives. Which one, Carrie? The Orange County Housewives reunion.
hmm
And we had the second day in Vegas with the New Jersey familias, if you will, because it's not just
hmm
the housewives, it's their husbands too. And I mean, if we were to challenge ourselves to talk about the Real Housewives of Orange County in 10 minutes or less, I think we could do it.
Oh, I definitely think we could do it.
I almost went through and labeled my notes of like, don't need to talk about this, but then I just figured I'll keep it for the sake of keeping
Yeah,
it.
we got to talk about something.
You're right.
They didn't
You're
give
right.
us much, so we'll have to stretch it.
So we're gonna just get like the reunion out of the way first. I don't think there was anything really said here that was that shocking. Although the preview for next week seems like Noella is really going to be encouraged to say something shocking to Heather. What it
That is what
is,
it seems like.
that's like the only thing that was like worth seeing was next week's preview. But I digress.
I'm not getting my hopes up for whatever it is.
Oh
I've
no,
been burned too many times.
it's probably just like I saw you push the cameraman.
Yeah, probably.
Something we've already been told. So we get the intros from Andy, and I do have two questions that came out of the intros for
Okay.
me, and I'm wondering if you can answer them. The first one is, what is Gina wearing?
It's not great. It's not great.
You've made this point before where like you could replace Gina and we wouldn't lose any content from the Real
Yeah.
Housewives of Orange County, and that kind of like resonated with me because like I'm especially thinking of like one of my best friends, shout out Molly if you ever listen to this, like Molly would wear that and wear it better, but
hmm
also like Molly's not a housewife, so like
Right.
I don't understand that outfit choice, like because I always think of the reunions is where like you usually see their best dress of the season, and I'm not a fashion person by any means, but like where did Gina think she was going? Was there confusion about where she was like supposed to be today for work? I'm confused on why she's confused.
The reunion looks in general, I would say this whole past year have been really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So this, like, I'm not surprised that we're seeing garbage look. Everybody looked bad. Except for Shannon, actually. And Shannon had a dress crisis, and Shannon looked
Yeah.
great. Best Shannon's ever looked, I think, actually, at this reunion. But I think Gina was really trying to be a little edgy, and she's just not an edgy person to me. So it just fell a little flat. Like that's a very like young fashionista outfit, and she's
Mm-hmm.
not a young fashionista.
She
to
could have at
me.
least dressed it up with like a blazer over it or something. But
Yeah, it needed something. It was very casual. It didn't
yeah,
fit the vibe. I don't know. It was bizarre. It was
like
definitely
I
bizarre.
think I've seen my friend Molly wear that outfit to brunch, and this is not anything negative against Molly. This is just like that's her type of fashion. And
Yeah.
so when I saw this on a reunion being broadcasted on national television, like I didn't understand why that was a choice because
Yeah.
again, that's like a Chicago brunch outfit right then,
Yeah.
right there. That's the norm. So what are you doing, Gina?
Yeah, it didn't fit the occasion. That's for sure.
I agree. Second, I don't know how good you are at geography,
Not
but
great, but it's
okay,
okay.
you might know this based more off of reality TV.
As I know everything in my life, that's where all of my knowledge comes from, is based
The
off
amount
reality
of
TV.
times,
So,
yeah, the amount of times I've said I know something because of insert reality TV show here is kind of embarrassing for someone who's working on a doctorate degree, but whatever. It's definitely not because of my formal education, that's for sure. Dr. Jen, the one thing, actually, she said two things this episode. We will highlight both of them. This is one. She said she's moving to Laguna Beach.
Yeah.
Is Laguna Beach in Orange County?
I think it might be.
I could have looked this up, but instead I
Well,
didn't.
let's see right now.
Is Laguna Beach in? Oh, someone else has asked this before. Yes, it's one of Orange
It
County's
is.
hidden gems, according to visitlagunabeach.com.
I would say it's not really hidden because it literally had a TV show in
Yeah,
the early 2000s called Laguna Beach. So definitely not hidden.
the only reason
The
I
show
know
was
for
really
sure.
popular. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only reason any of us know what Laguna Beach is.
I just
Pretty
wasn't
popular
sure
show.
if it was in Orange County or not. So she could still technically be on next season because she will still be living in Orange County.
Well, please
And
let's hope that she's not.
I mean, yeah, I'm not rooting for that. Girl's boring
Yeah.
as fuck.
Even if she's there, we wouldn't even notice. So I guess it could be worse.
Yeah, she's gonna be like one of the people in the background of the next rock and roll party next year. They're gonna replace her
Yeah.
in the band OC Reels. Sorry, Dr. Jen, you haven't made the cut. Yeah, and the other thing that kind of came from that is like, oh well, is Ryan moving with you? And she kind of was like, I don't know.
And everybody was like, haha. And then other people were like, no, she's not joking. Like, it was just very weird. That was very weird. Also, I don't care, though, at the same time, like, I don't care. Live your
I
life.
don't care on a personal level as much as I care about the logistics of if I were to be married and someone were to ask me, oh, is your husband moving with you? I would expect to know an answer to that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know
Yeah.
and a giggle. That's just not really like an answer I would expect out of a married couple. And I get they're having their like marital issues and everything, but
Like, maybe not the time to move then,
yeah.
Also, I guess that means she's just putting down. I guess he's a stay-at-home dad. And dad. I guess they have kids, right?
They have some kids.
Yeah, but he only cares about the dog.
It's true.
Clearly. So I guess she's just fronting the money for this house.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, she's kind of like the financial support of that entire relationship anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But all right, that's enough.
I'm Team Ryan.
One day, yeah, for sure. Team Ryan and his ankle socks. The next segment was Heather is back. Okay, so the segment after that is like, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, I have literally nothing to say about it.
She has two children that are in the LGBTIQ LGBTIQ plus community. I say that so many times. I don't know why. They break it down there. And that her marriage is good. Those are literally the two things that I wrote down about that.
Yeah, couldn't care less. She's a big house. Big deal. We know.
Next, we get onto the topic of Noella's divorce. Okay, so here we got some interesting stuff. Like, at least interesting for Orange County.
Once again, Noella, the only one providing content.
Yeah. So, Andy asked them how they met. And she says they met on a website called Seeking Arrangements, and everyone's like, wait a second, that's a
Yes.
sugar daddy
Yeah, I think it's
website.
pretty well known that that's a sugar. Like, what was that website where like people used it to cheat on people?
Oh, I know
Ashley
exactly what you're.
Madison.
Yes,
It's
yes.
it's like it's like the sugar daddy version of Ashley Madison. Like everybody knows that that's a sugar daddy website.
Yeah, it might not be sugardaddy.com, but it might as
No,
well be sugardaddy.com.
seekingsugardaddy.com.
Yeah, like it
Yeah,
could redirect to sugardaddy.com. It would be
yeah.
fine. And that kind of got a reaction from everyone.
Yeah.
What was your reaction to finding out that this was the website they met on, not Match.com, eHarmony, Hinge, Tinder, whatever it might be? We were on SeekingArrangements.com.
Well, I'm hard pressed to say I had a reaction to anything in this reunion, to be completely honest with you. But the one thing that I did think is that like Noella to me doesn't strike me as a liar, because if you're a liar, you're lying about this, and she's not. So like she was very straight up about like what their situation was in their marriage, which makes me believe that something happened with Heather pushing someone. This is all what I tied it to. Like I don't get that Noella is a liar from this. She's pretty honest.
That's a very valid point. I didn't think of it that way. I thought of it more so of like, I guess I kind of went the Emily route on it of, okay, then this kind of confirms to me things that like your husband was saying in Instagrams and like Instagram live videos of like you really just cared about getting money and being famous because you met on seekingarrangements.com.
But he's on the website too.
Oh, obviously, like, yeah, but he's the one with the money and more likely to become famous. And she even like said something along the lines like we started chartering like helicopters and things like that to build up this housewives lifestyle so that I would be a good fit for the show. So like I think it kind of for me made me feel more confident in my opinion that like everything she does is just to try and be good TV, and it's not as natural as some of the other housewives we've had in the past who are good TV, but also live this like lavish lifestyle that we enjoy seeing at the same time.
Yeah, and like little did she know, you don't need to do that because Gina lives in a house where 6 kids live in like 1 or 2 bedrooms on bunk beds. So like you don't really need that lifestyle, you know what I mean?
That's true.
You could just be Gina.
A valid point. And Andy was like, we've been not trying, but we've been talking to you about or coming on the show for like quite a few seasons. So she's definitely on the radar. Andy threw that out there. Yeah, I guess that's interesting, like the two different perspectives of like, well, if she isn't going to lie about this. I also wonder if it's like she can't lie about it because James has also been very vocal online, where it's not like he's not someone who's just letting whatever she say, like, okay, here's Noella running her mouth again, whatever, like it'll pass. He is replying to basically anything she says about him on the show.
Right.
So I wonder if it was like, if it connects to him in a way of like, is this why she's being honest about it? I don't think we'll ever know.
It could be.
I do wonder, and not to skip to the next Noella segment, or is it later in this one? No, it's later in the show. That oh no, it's later in the segment. Okay, I wonder where she met her new boyfriend.
Well, I did a little research on this man.
Thank you.
Because his picture really struck me as odd. The picture of them that they showed, I was like, this is her boyfriend?
So I looked him up. Like a rocker version of like Angel Cabrera via Laguna Beach.
Yes. So he I saw an Instagram comment saying like, or a post somewhere saying like, this is her boyfriend. I was like, great, we have a name. Let me Google it. So he was apparently on that reality show about the wrestler women, Total Divas or Total Bellas or something like that. And he's an ex of some female wrestler. And he like has a clothing company, but he's young. He's like in his early 30s.
Yeah,
and I don't know how he has money. It doesn't seem like he has a lot of money. It just seems like he's a little bit of a clout chaser, but he's very like, looks like he was in I don't know what band I could name that would make any sense, but looks very
Good
like I
Charlotte.
was in an early 2000. Yeah. Except not famous, like a
Yeah.
wannabe Good Charlotte or something like that.
He's like
That's the vibe.
Styles of the Rich and the Famous, like
Yeah.
except not.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Looks like he was like on the small stage at Warped Tour in the early 2000s and like never let that go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so her new boyfriend bought her an adult toy company for
Yeah.
Christmas, which is
Seems weird, but okay.
weird to buy someone for Christmas. I feel like businesses require a lot more planning and support and like willingness to have, but buying someone a company for I don't know, it's weird.
This is very Giselle's ex-husband, whose name is escaping me, which is fine because he doesn't matter, buying his daughters a restaurant
Right.
when they're like 13.
Yeah, they had
Where
to
it's
like
like,
go wash the
maybe,
dishes.
yeah, it's like maybe we should. Well, that restaurant's gone, and this sex toy company will be gone very soon if it's not already, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
We kind of skipped to the end of the Noella segment, but Emily was very much on her lawyer shit during this whole thing.
She's exhausting.
I was like entertained by it because I just thought it was funny that this is how she was deciding to approach it as opposed to like the Housewives approach, which those kind of overlap, I guess. But Emily was very much being a lawyer throughout all of it and trying to understand the legalities, which I think she did have valid points of like, okay, but if the lawyer said this, then I just have a hard time believing that it's not true. And we're never going to get the true story of Noella's divorce. Like, if anything, I just want it to be done because she's going to be back next season. We know Noella is going to be back next season. There's no way she isn't.
I don't know. I could see it going either way. If they really want to keep Heather and Heather is like, I will not film with Noella, I could see them giving her the boot. Or if they do like a full revamp and bring only Shannon and Heather back or something like that, I could see them not keeping her, which I kind of think they should do. And I think that should include also getting rid of Heather, but that's
OC Legends,
neither here nor there.
And then OC, whatever the new one's going to be called in New York.
Losers, OC Losers. There's plenty of those.
And Emily thinks that Noella's husband didn't want to be on due to like the tax stuff that came out like right before that their filming started, because Noella was very insistent that her husband supported her being on the show. And she said, like, he helped me charter these helicopters and start, like, really building a lifestyle that would be one to show on the show. And that was redundant. But Emily thinks that, like, okay, that could have been true. And maybe with this tax stuff, because it's bad for his business. And she also got into, like, the intricacies of the whole moving to Puerto Rico thing.
Yeah.
So what did you think of that? I don't want to call it evidence because it's not like we're in the court system right now, but like, what did you think of those pieces of information coming up, especially from everyone else kind of being like, but wait a second, this doesn't make sense, and Noella's response to it?
Okay, so I'm going to be completely honest. I kind of zoned out during this conversation because I just don't care about it. But I guess my whole thing is like, one, why does Emily care so much? And two, what is she trying to prove that I mean, like, what is this, like, having the house and being a Puerto Rican citizen have anything to do with what she's trying to say? Which there could very well be something that I'm missing because like I said, I zoned out during this conversation because I just didn't care. I just feel like I just can't believe we're still talking about this at this point and like this passionately and digging into the details this much. Because like, why do you care about this woman's divorce so much?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, she did bring it up almost every episode.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't understand enough about the whole like filing in Puerto Rico versus like filing in California.
Yeah, like I guess I'm just not sure what she's trying to say here.
Like establishment that they actually owned was the house in Puerto Rico, and then Noelle was trying to make it seem like that's where they vacationed, but Noelle had like posted on Instagram that like they've moved to Puerto Rico.
Well, the picture that they showed, it basically Did it say move to Puerto Rico, or did it say like, I feel like it hashtagged like Puerto Rico life or something like ambiguous like that. I didn't go back and do my research, but just based on what was on the screen, it didn't seem like she was saying that they moved there.
And Dr. Jen kind of chimed in. She's like, so you went to Puerto Rico on vacation every 10 days. And
well, good for her if she did.
Yeah. I mean, if that's the life.
Far trip though from Cali. I mean, it's one thing if you live on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And it makes a little more sense, but that's a far trip.
I don't understand any of this. All I know is that she's in a relationship with someone who apparently has enough money to keep her happy. And whether or not true love exists in that, maybe we'll see next season. And if we don't, I really wouldn't care. I haven't been the biggest Noella fan all season. But we did get one last mention of the vagina stack.
Yes.
Any party words for the vagina stack?
No, not a one.
Okay, great.
Not a one.
The next section, or the next segment, was about Heather and Shannon, and Andy finally came through for us, Katie.
Yes, Andy, he asked the question that we've been waiting to know. He heard us. We've gotten through.
If this happens to be your first time listening to us, we have brought this up on multiple occasions, but
almost weekly.
Yeah, because I mean, I would never let that much sushi out of my sight. So Heather had her like massive party at the beginning of the season. This is where she may or may not have pushed someone, and she had bought $36,000 of Nobu sushi, which I plan on doing in the near future as well with my $150 gift card. I'll pay for the rest out of pocket.
Yeah.
And put me on Real Housewives of Chicago. I'm here waiting. So I'm just kidding. I think I've worn the same sweatshirt on this podcast like 12 times, and we've only had 16 episodes. Like, I'm not the person you want on TV. So, but Heather like basically kicked everyone out, and she had told Terry she bought $36,000 worth of sushi for this party that they didn't even get to enjoy. And we have been very adamant that if Andy is going to ask one hard-hitting question, it needs to be this.
Yes.
Where'd the sushi
And he
go?
came through. He came through for us. He asked.
I'm very glad that he did this. We have been very much waiting for this response. So she said she gave the sushi to Noella. Someone else stayed a little later.
People stayed late, and then she gave it to them to take home. I don't believe this to be true. I feel like on the show, Heather was apologizing to the people from Nobu, saying like, I'm sorry about the sushi or whatever.
The only reason I do believe it is that if she wouldn't have name dropped Noella.
That's true. Noella would have been like, no.
Yeah, she was like, I didn't think you're fucking expensive.
That's true. Noella would have absolutely said no.
So that's why I do believe. I mean, I don't think that the people that she mentioned,
some of it went in the trash.
Yeah. There was definitely some thrown away sushi, but at least not all of it went to waste. So I feel a little bit.
I would say we wasted like $20,000 worth of sushi instead of $36,000.
Oh my god, that's like 4 rolls at Nobu though. So it's fine.
Yeah.
The next segment, or this segment, first starts off with that, and then there's just like so much yelling about things that they've already yelled about.
I know.
I just like don't want to talk about it. So basically, I don't even know why they were yelling. I wrote Shannon cutting off Emily to let Gina respond, and then Shannon's like, I'm not going to yell. And then everyone's like, you're yelling right now, including Andy, which did make me laugh. I don't know if Shannon knows when she is yelling.
I don't think she does.
Maybe like yelling for her also requires standing. Like it really has to be a big projection.
True.
Being loud.
That's fair.
Who knows? But because this was back about the whole like, what's her face having the surgery and suing Terry, and Shannon's big thing was like, I didn't know that they were the same person, and then I said something, and to 2 people that I thought were my friends of just like, I don't know if this is who it is or whatever, and it got blown up. Heather's big thing was, you broke the code. You don't go after someone's career or kids.
Right.
Do you think Shannon actually did that?
I don't.
I don't know why I'm asking you.
No, I do not at all. I don't at all. Not even a little bit. Also, like, we shouldn't have a fucking code, Heather. You're on a reality TV show. Shut up. There's no code. And if there's a code, that means you shouldn't be on the show.
The part of the code that I don't understand is this not part of your career?
Exactly.
Like, you get
Exactly.
paid. This
You're
isn't
making a lot
fucking
of money
charity
to
work.
be on this show.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that was my confusion when they say like no career, and this comes up a lot in like I'm watching Atlanta, right? Or I can't say Atlanta anymore. Real Housewives of Atlanta. Like Kenya's big on like don't mess with my career. Candy's big on like my brand and all of this. Um, so it's interesting like where they draw the lines on. Okay, what I'm saying is not a shot at your business or your career, but like part of your career right now is showing up to these events
Right.
and getting into the trenches with these women and having whatever
Right.
conversations you need to have.
Hmm. I guess all she cares about is Terry's career.
That's true. Like, what is Heather's career?
Her podcast? I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I think Terry's like bad plastic surgery on his own face. I mean, obviously he's not doing his own. Maybe. I mean, maybe he's putting his own fillers in his face. I have no idea. But that should be like damaging to your career enough because if you look from like old school Terry to now, he's a very different person.
Mm-hmm.
Very puffy. That should be damaging enough to your career as a plastic surgeon.
So, like, when you go into like a salon and you're like, wait, that woman's
Mm-hmm.
hair, they're going to be cutting my hair? Like, oh,
Exactly.
I'm showing
Exactly.
symptoms. I got to go.
Exactly.
This then escalates to Heather being like, you know what? Back in like 1794, the last time I was on a reunion, David was sitting right there next to you, and the two of you were like, our marriage is fine. We're working on it. We're happy, whatever. She's like, I knew David was cheating on you. You knew David was cheating on you, and you pretend you didn't. I could have blown up your whole family right then and there.
Heather's disgusting.
What the fuck was that?
Disgusting. Like, first of all, they're divorced at this point, and he's engaged or married now to someone else, and that other person's having a kid. So, like, why is this relevant in today's America? I don't know. But like, what's your point, Heather? What's your point here, other than like you're a disgusting beast right now?
I still don't understand like how you can even pretend that there's a friendship there if those are the types of things that you're gonna say.
And like for your brain to even go there and make that a comparable situation when literally all that we know that Heather did, and no one's really that Shannon did, no one's really disputing this. And then when you see the picture of Nicole and what Shannon used to know her to look like and what she looks like now, it is confusing. Is that the same person? She looks totally different. So like I can understand why Shannon's like, I don't know if this is the same person, but the person I knew sued Terry DeBro. So it's like, oh, okay. All she did was say something. And she said, it is my fault that I drank too much and said something I shouldn't have said or whatever. Like that's all she did. People say things all the time. They weren't on camera. She was just out having some drinks and she was gossiping. We all do it. Everybody does it. So for Heather to act like she is God's gift and to then pull this out as if that's somehow comparable, like a dropped lawsuit versus a husband having an affair 9 years ago or whatever. It's just, she's disgusting.
She did, however, apologize for her promise, not a threat, that she had. What do you think?
When they showed this clip, it was more ridiculous than I remembered when I originally watched it. I was like, I can't believe how much worse this is than I remember it, because it was somehow worse than the first time I saw it.
Yeah, it was definitely more impactful. And I wonder if it's because we had just seen it after her being like, I could have fucked your whole life up by telling the whole world that you know that David is currently cheating on you right now.
Also, like the acting.
Yeah.
Like, come on. This isn't a soap opera.
The apologies have been given. It goes back to your point of like, are these women, well, not are they? These women aren't friends. Like,
no.
We were trying to be led to believe from Bravo that Shannon and Heather could be friends, but this is a level of intensity that I don't think actual friends would reach with each other, at least on camera.
Right. And I think like Shannon made a really good point, and I just found it so gross because like the whole beginning, and maybe it's just because it was all compartmentalized into like these few segments, but it's like here's Heather's beautiful house and she's back and she's rich and blah blah blah. And then it's like you show her telling Shannon that she's going to basically destroy her family.
Mm-hmm.
And Shannon says it. I'm a single mom. My kids are with me 100% of the time. Shannon's life has been downgraded from a life that used to be like downgraded financially from what used to be similar to Heather's life. And now she has a more modest lifestyle. And then there's this woman of extreme privilege and money telling this other single mom, I'm going to destroy you and your family.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's just so tone deaf and like gross. Like pick on someone your own size, Heather. Like Shannon just said one thing and like, who cares what she said? Who cares? You're also the one that brought Nicole on the show. She's supposedly your friend. So I don't know. The whole thing was just gross.
Hopefully we're done with it because I don't think there's much more conversation that can happen about that topic.
No, I don't think so either.
Another topic that there can't be much conversation about is the next segment about Emily, where she's either letting loose or being a loose cannon.
Mm.
So I got, I'm kidding. I have one thing, but it relates to Dr. Jen. Because when she was talking about working with the Innocence Project and either like doing case reviews for them or doing fundraisers or whatever, and Dr. Jen like chimes in and says her second sentence of the whole reunion so far, and she's like, and I promised to be, and I said I would be a medical expert for anything that you would need.
Yeah, that's exactly what the Innocence Project needs, Dr. Jen. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, that's all I got. Anything you want to talk about in terms of like Emily's relationship with her dad or her deciding to be the person that exposes the truth this season?
No, I think she's the person who decided she needed to do anything she could to stay on the show this season, and that's what she did. Also, the Innocence Project thing, like, they showed one scene of it the entire season. Why are we talking about it at the reunion? We never saw anything that she did other than have a conversation with one guy.
Yeah, probably because it's like the only thing that they did outside of themselves.
Right.
Whole season. Like there's no other. Sometimes they'll have like events for like charities and stuff. I don't think they did anything like that this season.
No, just Dr. Jen's brain scan.
Oh, right. Well, you can't have Emily without Gina, and Gina was like the next topic of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And all I got from it was she doesn't want to believe in physical demons, but she does. And that if you aren't watching this on video, I just reenacted her spitting out the demons thing. Mm-hmm. She said it helped her. She felt better.
Sure. Maybe she's the physical demon.
Oh. If she has intruded on the space of the physical demon.
Yeah. Maybe she is the actual demon and
she took over like a nice creature, like an angel's body, and has infiltrated. Interesting idea here. It's a little bit too, what's the word? Extraterrestrial is alien. What's the fancy word for ghost? But you know what I'm talking about, the big word?
Yes.
No.
Paranormal?
Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Too paranormal for me.
Okay.
I can't really contribute much, but if you want to expand on that, you're welcome.
No, I don't really have anything else to say other than that. I didn't really fully bake it. Just a quick thought I had.
Off the dome piece.
Yeah. Yep.
And her ex are co-parenting well. That's what we got on the Focus on Gina segment, where we really should have focused on talking about her fashion decision for that evening.
Yeah. The one thing that I don't even know where this was all, it felt like throughout the entire reunion, every time Gina opened her mouth or Shannon opened her mouth, Emily had to start talking over everybody. And I was just happy that Shannon was like, can you shut up? Like, just shut up. That's really all I got from like anything in this whole episode.
Yeah, really the last part, we saw more of that. And this is where we started focusing on the Shannon and Gina stuff. And Shannon was like, I did say they wouldn't bring up the DUI anymore. And I didn't, like, after that. And Gina agreed and thanked her for it. And then they just started like yelling again about being friends or not being friends. And this was the part where I zoned out because I just can't take it. They don't have to be friends. Like Gina's insistence on being on in everyone's MySpace top 8 is exhausting.
Right. I totally agree. I totally agree.
But I think we're
I
gonna
just
get
don't
more of that.
care
Yeah, like we're gonna get more of it next week because
because
it
they have
kind of
nothing
set
else
off.
to talk about.
Yeah, that's true. And that was really the first episode of Reunion.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
that's it.
I think we're gonna have 3 episodes of Reunion. By the way,
No, I don't think so.
you really think next week? Because I feel like they would have said like, and in the conclusion of you know what I mean? Like they would have hinted that next week was the last one in the preview, and I didn't catch any
Oh
hints towards
no.
that. I think there's a third one.
How? How can they stretch this into 3?
Well, maybe the third one is just going to be an OC Reels performance.
I'm debating on whether or not I would sit and watch it. I probably would. I probably would.
Yeah, I don't know. My gut is telling me we're getting a third episode.
I really hope not. Let me see. Can I look up the schedule?
Well, while you do that, I'll start transitioning us into
Okay, great.
New Jersey. And I remember you telling me at the beginning, like this one, New Jersey's just like different from the rest of them because of the heavy influence of the husbands in terms of like screen time and everything, and just like how involved they are in the women's drama, despite their mantra is not let's play for dicks, but instead it's
let's play with dicks.
Yes,
Yeah.
is like don't get involved in the women's drama. But
Yeah. I think we have 2 episodes, by the way. On the
do,
Bravo website, the only new episode that's listed as new is this coming Wednesday. And then just like replays.
okay, good.
So I think we only get 2.
I'll be happy with that. They just
Me
didn't
too.
make it seem like it was ending next week. Because a lot of times they'll be like, and in the no, he doesn't really use dramatic. That's like a Chris Harrison.
It's like a Bachelor thing, yeah.
Like in the shocking reunion conclusion or whatever, you know, like
Yeah.
something like that. Like it's like narrated that way. But that's fine by me. It could have ended there, and I'd be fine too. Like it.
Me too. Anyway, back to New Jersey.
Yeah, we're in New Jersey. Well, we're not in New Jersey. We're in Nashville. And the episode starts off with them rehashing the night before, which I don't know about you, and I don't really like drink much anymore to the point where like my nights need to be rehashed. But one of my favorite things about drinking was always the next morning and just like everyone trying to piece together their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what happened and like reminding people. I know you're going to a rap know-it-all soon.
I am.
And one of the things that like our group did was we wouldn't open Snapchats from each other. Like we would Snapchat a bunch of shit.
Oh, that's
and, like,
funny.
All sent it to our friend Chris, and then either at the end of the night or the next morning, like we all sat there and watched like the replay from the night before together. So if you're moving with a group in New York City, that's a fun thing to do. So
that sounds like fun.
Yeah, we called it Snapchat TV, and we watched the replays of the dumb shit that happened.
That's great.
This is kind of like the New Jersey edition of them doing this at the beginning of the episode. We get Margaret moving into Teresa's room after Teresa had left for the hotel. So now we have a new queen bee in the house. Maybe not on the
nothing
show,
Margaret would love more than being the queen bee.
But definitely in the house. So
which my question is like, why does Margaret get it? Why not Dolores? She planned the trip.
Yeah, I wonder if it's because like Dolores isn't sharing a bed with anyone. So
what?
I mean, listen, I love sleeping diagonal in a king size bed.
Same.
So Dolores should get to do that too. We get Margaret explaining like, yes, I called her a liar, but Margaret also believes Teresa to be a liar, so she doesn't feel bad about saying it. And then asks like, but did that deserve having a whole table pushed at me? And Melissa was like, well, she just wants you to stop bringing up the Louis stuff.
Pretty simple. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. Though I don't think that they, at least in this part of the conversation, really honed in on the fact that Teresa was baiting Margaret to say something.
Yeah, she was. And I know we talked about this last week too, and I think like I feel like there must be something that Teresa knows that she's just not saying on camera that made her act that way, because it does feel like it came completely out of nowhere.
Yeah, because like she was taking some big overarching swings to get Margaret to be like, okay, you've caught me. Like, not you've caught me, but like,
right.
I'll play.
Yeah. Yep.
Margaret says that she's never talking to her again because Joe mentioned like, okay, she's not going to go to your singing thing today, but she is going to come to dinner tonight. And then I think it was Jackie who made the comment of like, why is she allowed to say whatever she wants to everybody, but we have to like treat her in a certain way. Like, it is established we have to treat her this way, otherwise Teresa will explode. And as our resident Teresa defender, because I'm finding it harder and harder to defend most of her actions through this, what do you have to say to Jackie's question there?
Listen, it's a hard cross to bear as the lone Teresa reporter on this podcast. But, you know, I get it. I get it. And it's because Teresa doesn't know how to act like an adult. Really, truly. She doesn't. And she can't manage her emotions. So people have tiptoed around her. And I really think it's like a lot of Melissa's fault in a way, because they finally got to this place where they're like, okay, after years of not being okay with the family. And now she doesn't want to disrupt that. So like that set this precedent of everybody having to tiptoe around Teresa, especially after she came out of jail. I feel like it used to not be like this. And then she came out of jail and then it became like this, because the cast was kind of like built around. Dolores was her friend. She had other friends. Margaret was her friend for a long time. And she was kind of like held up on this pedestal after she came out of jail. And no one wanted to like cross her because everybody felt bad for what she was going to. And then I think it like boosted Teresa's ego up because the show waited for her to come out of prison to film. All of these people were like her friends now. She squashed all the issues with Melissa. So she feels like she can get away with whatever she wants. And she kind of has gotten away with whatever she wants for the past like 5 seasons. So not saying it's right, but I think it's a product of the casting around her and the fact that like no one else has a storyline. So like she basically is the leader of the show.
Yeah. I mean, I understand everything you're saying. That all like seems reasonable in terms of an explanation.
She's been made to feel like, as the lone OG of New Jersey, I think she's really been made to feel like she is untouchable.
Yeah.
So again, not that it's right, but I think it's just a product of how the show has gone throughout the last like however many years.
And Margaret says like, I'm not going to accept this behavior. Like the rest of you can dance around her, but I'm not going to, which kind of caused me to like have this question. I don't know if I have an answer for it, but I'm wondering, because like you said, this has basically been the cast for what, 5 years or so?
Yeah, something like that. It's been a lot. It's been a while.
Do you think that it's not as much about like Teresa being the meal ticket as like they're just genuinely fed up with having to treat an adult the way they do, so that she doesn't do things like what she did to Margaret the night before? Like if I'm Margaret, I can understand like, okay, fuck it. If this is like the end of my tenure, but I cannot as a human justify not having the same conversation I would have with her. That like, I mean, her and Jen, she can have a civilized conversation. Her and Jen just had one 3 episodes ago or whatever. Like, it's not like it's out of the realm of possibility for Margaret. So it just seems like it's a common thing of like, we understand this is how Teresa is going to respond. So if you're going to choose to do it, you have to deal with the repercussions. But like, do you think that there's just they might be moving towards, okay, I don't give a fuck, I'm fed up?
Maybe, but at the same time, I feel like Margaret talks out of both sides of her mouth, because she has not stopped talking about Louis. Every single episode, she's been talking about Louis. Every single one. Since the first episode of the season. Next week is the season finale. Every episode, she has been talking about Louis. So it's like, you're pushing her and you're pushing her and you're pushing her and you're pushing her. And you know that that's what you're doing. You're using this as your storyline. But then in the next sentence, you're saying you're fed up with Teresa acting like this. Then get a different storyline and talk about something else because you're the one that's pushing her to this point. Like, that's the thing that drives me crazy about kind of like these women specifically, because they're like, well, everybody's fed up about Teresa and everybody, but it's like, you guys continue to poke this bear that you know is going to react this way. Get something else in your lives that's going on that's interesting to talk about, and Teresa will be a normal person. I mean, as normal for Teresa. She's not a normal person, but she won't act like this. But they use her every single season, so she gets more and more fed up even more quickly, I think, at some of these women at this point, because it's every season it's the same thing. It's, well, this is Teresa and Teresa this and Teresa this and Teresa this. And it's like, how many times can we just use Teresa as to move the story forward? So if Margaret doesn't want to deal with that, then stop talking about Louis. Teresa will back off and then everybody will be fine.
So I expected this response, which is why I even wrote this follow-up question to this.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's just Margaret that's concerned about, is Louis good for Teresa? I think there's a general, like, I mean, you even said it as a Teresa defender, like, no, this dude might not be everything Teresa wants him to be.
Yeah.
So do you think that the motives are to look out for her?
No, I don't at all.
Do you think anybody has those motives right now?
No. I think if anybody had genuine concern, it would be Dolores. And Dolores basically is like, this guy treats her like Joe has never treated her in the past. Let her like be in her bubble. This is, whatever. And if she finds something out, she finds something out, and she'll come to that conclusion on her own. She's a big girl, basically. Everybody else, I think, is using it because they want to bring all of this drama up on the show.
You did not explain it the way that Dolores explained it, which is
she's a beaten puppy, an abused puppy, shelter dog. Yeah. Yeah, which I'm like, that's a little rough. I don't know if I would say that.
And, oh shoot, I had a question, but I got sidetracked by the shelter dog thing.
I don't even think that Joe and Melissa are genuine in their concerns, because they've been using Teresa for this platform for over a decade now. So it's like, even their concerns, I don't know if they would be valid or not, but I would rather hear it come from Joe in like a one-on-one conversation with her, rather than like these women who we know Margaret and Teresa are not really friends. Like they used to be. And then the last couple of seasons, things have kind of just devolved. So, or Jen, maybe if Jen had concerns, because Jen and Teresa are actually friends, and she spends time with Bill and Teresa and Jen, and I mix those up, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They go out together. They have double dates together. She spent actual time with Louis. So it's like, if it came from her, then I think it would be more genuine.
Yeah, I think we see a preview for next week of Louis and Joe having a conversation.
Yeah. And that I think is fine. Like, you're her brother. You want to, and he's asking in a seemingly respectful way, like, okay, fine, you could be in a toxic relationship, but like, what's with all the stories coming out?
Yeah, I agree.
Not in a huge group, not some random ass lady Margaret, who I don't think had ever even like really met Louis before. Like, it just doesn't feel like she's the right person for this to be coming. Like, Margaret, you're not calling her on the weekend and being like, how are things with Louis? You're not. You're only doing it on camera, and that's what's pissing her off. And it's very transparent.
No, I agree. And I'm sure there's a way of doing all this that it wouldn't have elicited like such a response out of Teresa. Right. One of my favorite podcasts I used to listen to, I don't really listen anymore, but Jalen and Jacoby. Jacoby's big thing was like, it's not what you do, but it's how you do it. And so I always think of that. But I think that
love Jacoby from his Right Reasons days. Did you ever listen to that?
Yeah.
Reality, love that.
Yeah, him and Juliet Littman. And they did like a food podcast too. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a Juliet Littman fan, but I am a Jacoby fan.
I do genuinely enjoy Jacoby. Juliet Littman's fine. She like at least knows what she's talking about, and so I appreciate that. But I stopped listening to like I was telling you earlier, I kind of just stopped listening to podcasts in general until like very recently, and it's only baseball podcasts. So yeah, shout out Jacoby. So Joe did say like to Margaret, okay, so do you think you can have a civilized conversation with, which Margaret was like, I don't think so. But here's something that I wasn't expecting that I also did appreciate was that Margaret's husband, Joe, was like, okay, and if things like go south, what are you doing as her brother?
Yeah.
I did like that it's like, okay, well, we know that there's this group of you who is going to let Teresa be Teresa, and you just all kind of like accept that for what it is. But if part 2 of last night happens, and like, how are you handling it? I like that Joe stood up there for this, and it because the big like, okay, the women shit is the women shit, but like Joe's driving this conversation right now, so I like that her husband kind of chimed in, was like, all right, well, what about you then? Like, you keep asking my wife what she's doing. What about you?
Yeah, I think that was fine. And I think it is like at a certain point, like Melissa and Joe, I don't want to say pick a side, but they need to kind of pick a side at the end of the day because they are kind of flip-flopping. They are, I mean, they kind of give us nothing at the end of the day anyway. And even like with the drama, they're just like, oh my God. And they just like don't do anything. So it's like, I do think they need to pick a side instead of playing both sides. But at the same time, I just have a hard time like understanding why Margaret is so, I don't want to say why she's so angry because I get it. You got like a bunch of glassware and wine thrown on you, but there's like montages on the internet going around right now of Margaret throwing wine on Danielle Staub because she said that that's why your kids don't talk to you. Literally taking a glass of red wine, throwing it in Danielle's face. Then there's video of her pushing, literally physically pushing Danielle's husband into a pool at night on the shallow end. Could have gotten hurt. And then there's her taking a bottle of water, opening up the bottle of water, standing and Danielle and just pouring the bottle of water on her head. How are any of those three things different than Teresa shoving a bunch of stuff at the table at her?
Well, that's because she was the recipient.
Well, right. But like you're now trying to take this moral like stance of like, I'm never talking to her again. She's an animal. And it's like, you've actually been an animal just as many times as Teresa. Like you've literally done the same exact things that she has done. And you've also said vile things about Jen for like the past, Jen has said vile things about her too, but like for the past like 5 seasons. So like what, come on, like, we're not comparing apples to oranges here. It's like apples to apples. You're the same type of people. You just don't like that it was done to you.
No, I think you have a valid point.
I just wish someone would be like, you've done this too.
Yeah, that hasn't come up at all.
Like you have done the same things.
They've
all been there for it. They've all seen it.
Yeah.
It's the same cast. So they've all seen it.
Very true. Anything else we need to talk about in terms of them kind of reliving the night before and preparing?
I don't think so. I do like the way Dolores kind of like, aside from like the shelter dog, I think she really tried to level with everybody and say she has been treated like shit from her husband, never said a kind word to her. Now she has this guy who treats her like a queen. Let her have it. Like, let her have it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Let her have it while she has it. And she'll come to the conclusion on her own at the end of the day. Like nothing you are going to do or say is going to change how she feels. It's like, what is the goal at the end of all of this? She's never going to be like, you're right, Margaret, I'm going to leave Louis. That's never going to happen. So just shut up about it.
Especially with like, okay, all this stuff has already come out in the press. So it's not like one of her close friends is coming to her in confidence, something that only this person knows because they saw it or whatever it may be. But instead, it's just they're harping on the same shit that the internet is harping on. Like, okay, this...
And in a group setting.
Yeah.
Like if it was Jen coming to her house and just being like, oh, I saw this article. Like, is everything okay? I think Teresa would take it a lot differently than Margaret being at Teresa's party in the first episode being like, she has to answer for the video. Why does she have to answer for the video? Why? Yeah. And it just all devolved from there. So.
Well, good news is it keeps devolving.
It sure does. It sure does.
But we'll get to that. That's near the end of the episode. This next part, I know you love activities, so I'm sure it was your favorite
my favorite thing.
The whole episode. I did not put many notes under women go singing. I just put they have a songwriting session about lady drama.
I feel like I have a decent amount to say about this, mostly based on the man who wrote the song. Because, like, where are we finding these trash men on this show who all they do is treat these women like they're idiots and they speak so misogynistically? I don't even know if that's a word, but like, you're talking about fake tits and fake lips. Sir, who are you?
Yeah.
Who are you, sir, to say that on national television? To me, these shows are about, like, even though they make asses of themselves constantly, celebrating women of a certain age, like they make us laugh. We don't need these men like degrading them on TV. And we get it in Jersey, and I hate that. I hate that.
Yeah. So
Now we need to get it from this like country bumpkin, no offense, like rando at some shitty ass recording studio, wannabe country star that you're like letting in these Real Housewives and you're writing a song for them because you can't be at like, I don't know, who's a country artist from Nashville, one of the 85,000 who's famous country studio to like help them write a song. Maybe look at yourself, sir. And I don't like any of the women that were there. So, and I'm still going to defend them, except Jen.
I was gonna say I thought you liked Jen.
No, I do like Jen. I do like Jen.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
I do have one other question for you. Would you like to comment on Melissa like riffing off in the song?
Okay, so I said this to my partner when we were watching the show because way back in the day, this is going to be a very niche reference, but back in the day when Justin Timberlake was on the VMAs to get that like fake Video Vanguard award and do like a whole, this was like years ago now, and do like a whole 10-minute performance, NSYNC came out at the end. And JC, who's the best member of NSYNC by far, and I will fight this to my grave that JC is the number one member of NSYNC, came out. And then at the end, I think they did Bye Bye Bye, maybe. And he did like a at the end. That was so embarrassing because he just like wanted his 5 seconds. It seems like he just like wanted his 5 seconds, wanted to prove that he's the singer of the group, and he did it. And it lived. It's like the most cringeworthy moment. I watch it back on YouTube, and I like cringe inside. This is what this was giving me. It was giving me JC Chasez at the VMAs in whatever year that was, coming out and like trying to make his mark for 5 seconds on a stage that is like not built for him. And like, Melissa, this is so embarrassing. These women sound horrible, and you're trying to like out sing them for what? Horrible. It was so embarrassing. Like, I'm cringing thinking about it.
It didn't even like match what they were singing anyway.
No. Oh my God, it was so embarrassing. She's so thirsty for the spotlight. I was like, really? You can't even just do this like a normal person? You have to like, oh, it was so embarrassing. I'm like cringing thinking about it.
Well, I'm okay with leaving the whole singing thing there. I didn't.
Who do you prefer, Lady Drama or the OC Reels?
Okay, great question.
Who's your girl group of choice?
Escape with Candy Burris.
Yes.
I thought that it was interesting that like they didn't really, and we're kind of like skipping ahead to the dinner party, that they didn't really like put much production into like trying to not make them sound like dumpsters lit on fire. So in a way, I think I actually respect that more than no, because like I just think it's like, oh good, this is what they recorded. We heard them sing this and they sounded this bad versus when they played the OC Real song, I don't even think that they auto-tuned those women's voices. I think they just brought in like 6 different women to sing the parts and then had like, no, we can't even, that's how bad they were. So at least they presented the product as is versus whatever high-end production that they did over in Orange County. We got like the raw, real, bad, awful singing of the women of New Jersey. And that's why the talent, there's no talent across any of this. Like, so it's not judging the talent. I'm more judging the, I guess maybe the sentiment of the final product. So I'll take New Jersey.
Oh, I'm going OC Reels all the way. If it's not making my ears bleed, so I have to take that one. It's kind of like, Richard Marx kind of wrote a little bit of a bop. It's not a bad song. It's just like, I don't need to hear it.
It's not,
but I'll take them. Yeah,
but
I'll take OC Reels. Plus, I'm not a country music fan.
That wasn't even country music. Like, that wasn't music. Forget country music.
No, I don't even know what that was.
It's just bad. But at least we got to hear them in their badness and not whatever high-end production was done to fix the train wreck over on the other side of the country. Next, So these three things were like interwoven, by the way, throughout the episode. I just kind of
Mhm.
segmented them off so that I could write notes easier. But next, you want to talk about the men on the boat? Louis goes.
I would love to.
Yeah, I know this will take a lot of time. Louis goes, which I wasn't sure if he was going to go, so that was nice to
I'm
see that
happy
he was
that he
there.
went.
Yeah, and they talk about the previous night a little bit, and he's like, "That's the worst I've ever seen her." Um, I think the guys have given me a fair shot, but I don't know if the women have.
Well, it's
And
true.
yeah, that's definitely accurate. Oh, my dog just showed up. I had no idea that he wasn't even in my room before this. And then Margaret's Joe makes the comment of like, okay, well, Marge is protective of Teresa.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of like where some of this is stemming from, and it kind of just like gets left at that. Otherwise, they just like get drunk and do shots out of like a dick
Yeah.
and jump in the water. I have to say that as a 33-year-old, I could
Mhm.
not have the day that those men had
No.
and then like get up and rally for a dinner that I would be asleep until at least the next day, maybe later.
I would be like puking off the side of the boat.
Yeah.
I would not be a functioning human.
So I do have to say that like I respect in a I can never accomplish this type of way
Mhm.
what those men did.
I have a question for you.
Hmm.
Do you think, what do you think the thing with Frank having no balls is? Do you think that's a steroids joke?
Oh,
Because I don't know where that comes from. I feel like maybe I'm missing it, or maybe I just forget because I don't really pay close attention to the men. But I don't remember them ever really saying that or saying like a reason why he has no balls. So I have to assume it's like he did so many steroids that his balls just shrunk.
maybe. I don't
Because
know.
I don't really get, they keep bringing it up.
Yeah, I'm not sure at all.
That's what I'm taking from it.
Because Frank is Dolores's ex-husband, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And the
And he
kids,
was like a professional bodybuilder.
the kids are his, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
All
Hmm.
right, so he's not like infertile. So
No. Yeah.
yeah, maybe that's it.
I don't know.
I
That's
have
what I
not
take
been
from it.
privy to seeing the down under of him, and
Nor have
like
I.
I don't know what the truth of the matter is. To be fair,
Neither do I. Neither do
but
I.
Frank was only playing for Dixon,
Hmm.
so
Playing for dicks.
um, anything else you want to talk about the men?
I just love like, I mean, well, I guess we could talk about it when they get back to the house and how they act, but I have plenty to say about Billy and when he gets back to the house. But nothing about the boat itself.
Yeah, okay. I agree with that. Yes. And then we have Teresa and Dolores went shopping. So they skipped out on going to sing.
Which
And
I love this.
yeah. This like I think Teresa needs more of this in her life,
Yes.
period. And just not just from like Dolores though. Like I think that if she were to have more one-on-one conversations with
Hmm.
not Louis, that
Right.
like she might gain a little bit more perspective.
Hmm.
Because it feels like in this series, and I can't remember if we said this last week or not. I feel like I brought up that this like lacks a lot of the one-on-one conflict
Yeah.
resolution that a lot of the other series have. Like, okay, there's an issue. Well, we're gonna force these two to go to lunch, and like they don't even make it to ordering food, but they've at least had to like sit down and face each other when it's not like the husband's involved in addition to, or like the person they're one-on-oneing with is like they're bitching to their husband about whatever's happened. Um,
Hmm.
Given like these two are obviously like on the same side, but nothing productive is going to come from like trying to conflict or do conflict resolution in front of a group of 10 plus
Right.
people.
Right.
So yeah, I liked this. Teresa said that Margaret needs to watch the way that she talks, and
I don't disagree.
yeah, I think or Dolores was like based off of just today in what Teresa's saying. Like, there's no chance that it's going to go well because Margaret's expecting an apology and Teresa's not going to give one.
Yep.
Here's the
Yeah.
most important thing I need to bring up from this. Dolores was trying on cowboy boots without socks.
I didn't even notice that. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
So,
No, that's awful.
yeah, no socks.
Oh, Dolores, what are we doing? Ugh. I'm just like imagining myself trying on cowboy boots without socks and I feel disgusting.
It's more like someone else's feet are gonna go in there after your
Yeah.
during a pandemic.
Right. Yeah. During a pandemic, no less. Oh, Dolores, what are we
Um,
doing?
is there anything else that we need to bring up about the conversations that these two had?
No, I think Dolores really does her best to try and like reason with Teresa and
Mhm.
like give her perspective of like, well, this is what happened with me and Jackie earlier. And Teresa's just like, yeah, but she's talking about me. She's not listening. She's not ever going to listen. And this is where like sometimes I'm like, okay, this is why I can't defend Teresa in some
Mhm.
areas because like she just has a one track mind of like, she can't listen to what other people say. Once she feels like she isn't right or has been wronged, like she sees red and that's it.
Yeah.
Um, but I did like the turquoise cowboy, like the little ankle cowboy boots with the fringe on them those were kind of cute.
And then she tried them on with socks.
Yes, and I feel like they were like fake line dancing in there, and I thought that was like cute. I like when they like laugh and have a good time with each other. They feel like they never do. So
Why does Teresa own so many pairs of cowboy boots already?
I don't
She
know. It's
lives
kind of
in New
weird.
Jersey.
Yeah, and like cowboy hats and stuff. I don't. It's bizarre.
And then
I don't know.
Dolores is like, "What do you even wear these for?" And she's like, "Oh, like trekking along the Jersey Shore." Like, what?
Yeah, I have no idea. I
I'm
have no idea.
confused. I
Yeah,
need to see Teresa's shoe collection, and I want to understand why she has so many cowboy boots.
she has a lot of interesting fashion choices, and we'll get to one when she shows up at that party later.
Mm-hmm. After everyone's afternoon activities, they get back to the house, and the men are feeling it.
Oh
So
yeah,
Evan texted Jackie and was like, "Hey, did you have any drinks?" And she's like, "Yeah, I have one." And Evan goes, "Oh, that's about 14 less than all of us each had."
yeah, yep,
um, and I think the highlight of the men getting back is Bill's shirt. His polo shirt is
yeah.
on backwards.
And
Like
his
that's
hair, it looks like he's really been through something.
yes.
There's nothing that the New Jersey producers love. This is kind of like the quiet woman clip in OC with Shannon being like, this isn't my plate, you fucking bitch. Is Bill Aiden getting carried up the stairs by the men from like 2 seasons ago or
Yeah.
whenever it was. They play it all the time. And then you just hear Jen going, what did you do to my husband? It's like the same, they love it. But honestly, that's what made me like Bill Aiden. We hated Bill Aiden. The collective fan base hated Bill Aiden before that. And then that really made us all like him.
I didn't know if he was alive or dead when they carried him
No,
in
I
there,
know. He
but
really he doesn't hold his liquor well, just visually
I
anyway.
mean, for the amount
He's
they drank,
fine.
someone
Yeah.
would need to carry my ass off the boat too.
Yes.
So
It just looks like he's really been through it.
yeah, that
The shirt on
genuinely made
backwards
me
really
laugh. Yeah,
really set
especially
me.
like it's not a shirt that you can mistake for having on the correct
No, it has a
leg.
collar and
Right.
an open like neckline. It's
The
a
V-neck
polo.
type of yeah, like
Yeah.
that. You have to be fucking hammered to not
Yeah.
realize that that's on backwards. Yeah, that made me laugh.
Me too.
And then prior to the dinner, we get people getting ready, and you kind of like cut into different couples' rooms, and everyone is kind of just talking about Teresa with their significant other, which
What a surprise.
I know. And Jackie said something to Evan that I thought was accurate. That I think I would feel similarly, which is like, I don't like that Teresa gets to control the temperature of the night. Like, if she
Mhm.
comes in deciding she still is angry from the night before, none of us are going to have a good time. If Teresa is
Right.
able to like put this to the side, then we might be able to have a good time. And like, it sucks that literally one person is able to control, not so much control, but like their actions influence heavily how everyone else is going to get to experience whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
I think that would frustrate me too. I don't think that like I think it was said negatively, implying like.
Yeah.
However, I don't think it's wrong either.
No, I don't disagree. Yeah, I don't disagree. It has to be annoying. But that's why I also feel like maybe we're due for a cast shakeup or something
Yeah.
because we just have this one power player at the top. And it's true. She controls the entire narrative of the show, whether it's stories about her or her attitude. We need someone else, like a former OG, or like if we're gonna keep Teresa, which I please God keep Teresa, because I'm afraid if we don't, that like Melissa and Jackie and Tracy are gonna run the show and we will have nothing. We'll just have nothing. But like we need, I know you don't know Caroline Manzo, but like she was the other OG back in the day. And you'll know her if when you go back and you watch. And she was like the matriarch of the show at the time. And her and Teresa hate each other now. So it's like if we bring back a Caroline Manzo, first of all, I think Teresa actually might quit the show if that happens. But if we can get the two of them and someone that can like meet Teresa where she is, then I think it'll be more balanced. But right now it's like we have, it would be like if Ramona was the only OG on New York and everybody else was like a random new person.
Yeah, you had like 4 Leahs and then Ramona.
Yeah, like we have one alpha and the rest of them are kind of just like floundering there.
Yeah. I remember how I was like, I had a statement and a question, but the Dolores dog thing kind of like, I remember the question now. And I've been meaning to ask this and I always forget, which is like, is love bubble a term that is kind of like, you know how like Vicky has her love tank, like that's like her thing, and it became like an OC, like a running joke with her. Like, is love bubble just like a running joke type of thing from this show?
I've
Because
never heard it
otherwise,
before.
that is such a fucking annoying phrase that like
I've never heard it before ever. So like this is this is new as of this season. No.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I've never heard this before.
All right, I hate it.
I hate it too.
I didn't know if it was supposed to be a joke that I just like didn't understand because like how my love tank is full and blah blah blah, like that type of shit, that I didn't know if it was like the same thing. So now that I know that I don't have to accept it.
No, you don't have to.
I refuse to.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, it's not good.
What a dumb saying. Okay, cool. The other, I think, main thing was like with the couples talking, you get Melissa saying to Joe that like Teresa needs to apologize tonight. Do you agree with Melissa in this?
Yeah, I think you need to apologize. I mean, if you're the aggressor in the situation and you throw a whole table's worth of cutlery and glassware, including beverages, on someone, you probably have to apologize for that. Whether or not you feel like you were justified, you sent a rift through the whole group and you have to just you have to just eat it and be like, I apologize for reacting that way. And hopefully we can all just move on.
Did she need to apologize to the group, or do you think she needs to apologize directly to Marge as well? Marge, like I'm her best friend, Margaret.
I think apologizing to the group is appropriate in the situation, but maybe it's just because I'm a Teresa fan. Yeah, but I don't think that I would apologize directly. If it were me, I'm putting myself in Teresa's shoes. If it were me, I don't think that I would say anything to Margaret like one-on-one. Yeah. I think I would do it in a group setting. And I think I would say like, sorry for throwing a table on you. But I probably wouldn't mean it, because is Margaret apologizing for talking about, if theoretically I'm Teresa, my boyfriend for an entire season and making a storyline out of me? Because that's really what got us here, in my opinion, if I'm Teresa. So I think I would have probably gone the same route, potentially. There are a lot of things I wouldn't have done in this moment, but I think apologizing to the general group would probably have been the route that I took.
I think you bring up, like, it's the point of her not knowing how to be an adult in this stuff.
Yeah.
Because there are times when you just have to apologize for the greater good versus like, okay, if you don't mean it, like, cool, you and Louis can know that you don't mean it, you know, like whatever. Right. If that gets everybody else, because like Jackie said, it has such an intense effect on the rest of the group.
Right. So, and that's kind of why I feel like apologizing to the group is the appropriate way to go. So then it's like, listen, I apologize. I know I'm ruining the trip. I'm sorry, whatever. Instead of just like pulling Margaret to the side and being like, I'm sorry, I threw these things at you. Because the impact was greater than that.
Yeah.
And she's probably not sorry that she did that to Margaret.
Oh, she definitely isn't.
Yeah. So like, at least apologize to the group for the impact that you had. Maybe that's the apology that you mean.
Yeah, I think she had to fake an apology to Margaret, though, like, regardless. And didn't have to be on the side. Like, if she hadn't said the I was provoked part, she probably could have. I think that whole thing kind of was like, okay, thank you. Like, that's probably the best we're going to get at Teresa. But when she made sure to, like, state, I was provoked, so then I did the thing that I shouldn't have done. I am sorry. Like,
She was kind of not in that moment. I don't think she was provoked in that moment, but I think at that point it was like she was already like let out of her cage through the whole season
mhm,
because she was getting provoked by Margaret. I do think Margaret was provoking her this entire season. I do. Not to say that I think what Teresa did was right in that, like, I don't think that she handled it the right way,
mhm.
but I do think she was provoked.
Yeah, I think it can be
And I
provoked,
think she's
but
trying to explain herself like, I was provoked to get, I got to this point because of a reason. It's not just I came out of nowhere and just started
yeah,
throwing shit at people. She got she got to that point for a reason.
yeah. I mean, it became physical, and that's where even if you are provoked, like it's very hard to justify the
Hmm.
physical response.
Hmm.
I kind of think of like, I don't know, just like bad shit can happen. I mean, not that these things are at all related, but like Theo from the challenge can't like lost an eye basically because a champagne cork
Yeah.
popped into his eye. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
there
no, things can
he could have
absolutely
very
happen.
easily lost an eye in that
Hmm.
situation. Um and thankfully like nothing bad happened. But I think when it escalates to that, you have to apologize. If she had like just gone up and like screamed in her face and like retaliate with just words, I don't know if I would really expect Teresa to apologize. Like,
Yeah.
or I don't think that it would be needed, but I think you have to when you cross the line from verbal to
Yeah.
physical.
Yeah.
Um, we then get into the dinner at the house.
I do
Uh,
want to talk about Teresa's crazy outfit.
yeah, let's start there.
She just has a crazy, like, is it snakeskin? Like
It's
one
some sort
piece
of skin.
bodysuit. It was like what they were supposed to dress like they were southern, like country, right? And then she comes with this like crazy ass
Yeah.
snakeskin outfit on, and I'm like, I don't. This is not the vibe. I don't know what you're wearing.
Well, Katie, I don't know how much time you spent at any country line dancing bars in your.
Zero.
Okay, because I've
Yeah,
spent
zero time.
plenty of time.
Great.
The best bar to go to, like, and by best bar, I mean like the most ridiculous bar where you can count on there just being like dumb shit to observe happen in my hometown. It's called the Cadillac Ranch,
Oh,
and
okay.
Caddy Ranch for short. It has
Hmm.
a big line dancing floor. I was like, it's not a court, Carrie. It's not a
Yeah.
field. Like that was I'm like trying to get to the word in my head. Big line dancing floor, right? And there used to be a mechanical bull. They took that out,
Okay.
but there's pool tables. There's a popcorn machine. You have like the bar upstairs. You have the bar downstairs.
Sounds like a good time.
Oh, it's a great fucking time. Now they have like Big Jenga and Papa Shot and all this stuff,
Mm.
right? But it's just a good place to go and watch people be people. And
Yeah, I love
so
that.
maybe why this outfit didn't strike me as weird is
Mm.
because that's like run of the mill shit you see at Caddy Ranch.
Oh, okay. So it fit the theme then.
Yeah, like the theme
Oh,
for
okay.
Caddy Ranch and other I feel like line dancing establishments is like you got to have a little bit of that drunken southern twang to you. And I feel like
Okay.
that just really encompasses like I don't know. I got hammered, went on Amazon and saw this outfit, and I can wear this to the
Yeah.
next like hoedown throwdown that I'm going to attend.
Okay. I like that you've defended Teresa's outfit for me,
Yeah,
or given context behind it. I appreciate
because
that.
I've seen some things at Caddy Ranch,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
and that is like on brand for what you would see at this
Great.
place.
Well, then I'm proud of Teresa for
One of
sticking
my
with the theme.
favorite things to do there is to like get a few drinks in me and then think that I'm a good enough line dancer to just like pick up on what's going on based off of what everyone else is doing. So I'm like
Mm.
out in the middle, fucking 4 steps behind everybody else. And just like having a grand old time with it. Like
Yeah.
I do usually pick up the dances by like the last like verse of it.
Mhm.
So it's a lot. Like there's only so many ways you can like boot, scoot, and boogie. But
Yeah.
that's like
I'm a
one of
big
my
electric slide fan, which is like a form of
Mhm.
line dancing, but not.
Yeah, it's
So I
not.
can support it.
But okay, so they'll play the electric slide at Caddy Ranch, but like they have their own electric slide.
No, I'm sorry. There's no your own electric slide. There's one electric slide, and it's the electric slide,
I
Caddy
beg to
Ranch.
differ because I've also attended some events where, okay, so I know electric slide, and this is the
Yeah.
electric slide that I learned from my mom, who grew up in like the 70s and 80s, right?
Yeah.
But I have been to events where it is predominantly black and the electric slide is different. So
Okay.
I feel like I've seen at least 3 different electric slides in my lifetime.
Are they, at least do they have the same foundation?
Yeah, it's kind of like the to the and then
Yeah.
to the other
All right. I
side.
mean, like I can
But
understand
there's
like a
like,
little bit of like a flair thrown in there, but like the foundation has to remain the same.
yeah, it's just,
Otherwise, it's no longer the electric slide. Then it's just something else.
yeah, there's no, everybody boogie woogie woogies their own way.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I'm
in
an electric slide
conclusion,
purist. What can I say?
if Teresa wants to come to Caddy Ranch, I know exactly what she should be wearing that night. I've seen the outfit.
Great.
Come on in, girl. They'll accept you.
Welcome to the open arms.
Yes.
Okay,
Louis
great.
would have to put a plaid shirt over it. That's more what I want to talk about. What the fuck was Louis wearing?
Oh
Did you
yeah,
see
he had that skull
like
on his shirt.
rhinestone
That
skull
was
that like
horrible.
at like the forehead? That
Oh my God,
was
that was
more
horrible.
preposterous. Maybe that's why like her outfit didn't resonate as much with me, because I actually, the second note on my list of notes from this section is, what the fuck shirt is Louis wearing?
Yeah, that was a really bad shirt. That was a
like,
really, that's actually the most offensive thing to me out of all of the stories that have come out about Louis. Is his shirt is the thing that's offended me the most.
Is it Ed Hardy or Tom Hardy? What's like the dumb shit?
Ed Hardy. Tom Hardy's the actor.
Okay, I clearly in my many years have never been able to differentiate. So that looks like an Ed Hardy shirt that from
Yeah, it was really
long
bad.
ago.
Really bad.
Not good.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So before Teresa and her outfit and Louis' outfit got there, Dolores had to kind of like speak on behalf of Teresa, and I feel like Dolores gets put in that spot quite a bit, where she has
Agreed.
to be like the whisperer.
Agreed.
But I also
Totally agree.
feel like people respond well to Dolores being the whisperer.
Yeah, I think she's like the voice of reason, and I think she is on the show to kind of be like a Teresa translator almost, or like being like a middle person for Teresa in the group. Like she does a good job of trying to like, I'm trying to think of the word that I'm trying to say, but trying to connect the dots between what Teresa is saying and what Teresa actually means. Because I feel like Teresa has her own language that she speaks that doesn't make a lot of sense to anybody. And then there's like what she actually is meaning to say. And Dolores does a good job of like saying, no, this is what she means. She's like the, what's that? Like the medium, like the Teresa medium.
I think that Dolores also is good at like considering the trauma that Teresa has experienced, and then saying like, okay, well, she's probably acting this way due to like not just these reasonings, but these things that she's had to go through as well. Where I think a lot of the other women kind of like take everything at face value and don't maybe go for that analysis. And I mean, like at the same time, if you're in the middle of experiencing that, it sometimes is hard to take a step back and be like, oh yeah, well, she'd have to go to jail because of her husband, and she had to go through this and go through that. So
yeah. And I think they have grown, I mean, they grew up together, essentially. They've known each other forever.
Yeah.
So it's like she has all, like you're saying, has all of the background. She knows the relationship between Joe and Melissa and her, and knows the relationship between Joe Giudice and how, you know, and how he treated her really badly. So she's the perfect person to say, like, she's a shelter dog. You know, like she's been abused and now she, yeah, no, I think she really truly meant it. Like her husband was horrible to her and put her through a lot of horrible things. And now she finally has someone who's putting her on a pedestal, like let her have it.
Yeah. When Teresa gets there, she makes a comment to Melissa that she should have thrown the drink on Margaret's outfit from tonight instead of last night. And I did appreciate Melissa's response of just like, I guess we're not getting an apology tonight. Like she is still, did she cool down?
She came in hot. No.
She is on fire still. So Melissa knew pretty quickly that like, well, fuck, this is, and she kind of said that too, like during the line dancing that they did, that they all tried to learn. She's like, I'm gonna yeehaw the shit out of this because I know that this is gonna go down in flames in the very near future. I did think though that the line dancing lost its effect for me, and again, like I've spent far too much time in places like this because my mom also used to bring me when I was younger. So like, yeah, every Sunday was like line dancing. It was in a different place though, same bar. There was like family line dancing. They had really good pizza, and but line dancing really loses its effect to me when you don't hear like the boots clacking on the floor.
Yeah, they were on grass, right?
Yeah, so I was like, this isn't as fun for me.
They should have gone out to do it at a place. I think having it at the house is like kind of lame. Have it at a place where everybody can like watch and make fun of it in the background. Like we need to see people's reactions.
Like kicked out 2 places in 2 nights. So.
Yeah, but that's okay.
It's fine.
That's okay. Yeah, that's what we're watching for.
It's fine.
Right.
So they're dancing, then they listen to the song. That's that.
Yep.
We sit at dinner and Teresa goes, I want to apologize to the group. That's not how I normally act. I love Louis. When someone hurts him, they're hurting me. I was provoked. I'm sorry about what I did last night.
And I don't think that unprovoked was the worst thing in the world. I know that I'm a defender, but I really don't think it was that bad. I don't think it was that bad.
Include it. If she really wanted this
but she was. But I guess she got her point across by saying if someone attacks Louis, they attack whatever. So
like
she could have left it out, I guess.
Yeah, I think it displaces ownership of her actions a bit because
it's fair. That's fair. But I also just don't think that Margaret takes any accountability for her part in this at all. Like she blames it all on Teresa, but Margaret has been the one poking and poking and poking and poking. And we talk about this on other series, right? Like between Kenya and Portia, and we talk about it with Candace and Monique. It's like, I think it was a little different with Candace and Monique. A lot of people kind of did put it on Candace as provoking Monique, where with Portia and Kenya, people were pretty much on Kenya's side for the most part. But this one I think is like a little bit more gray because I don't know why it seems more gray, but it just does. Like no one's saying anything to Margaret of like, well, maybe you shouldn't have done that. Maybe you shouldn't have done that. And this wouldn't have happened.
Melissa did. She was like, you keep bringing this stuff up. Given it was like after it, but nonetheless, like Melissa did. And Margaret was like, that's not an apology. And she's kind of like saying this to Melissa. And Melissa goes, it's a start. There was a lot of people. And this is kind of where I lost some Teresa-ism, I guess, is like with how many people are like, well, that's progress for her. Like, she would have never done this many years ago. Bitch, she's an adult. Like,
I know, this is stupid. This whole thing is stupid.
The coddling really made me lose, like, okay, I'm not saying that Margaret's right. However, it's harder to back Teresa after the amount of people were like, oh my gosh, but like the fact that she did this, okay, and like,
well, this is kind of what I was saying at the beginning when we first started talking about this. Is like I feel like this is the product of the people around Teresa, just as much as it's the product of Teresa. I'm not saying she can absolve all responsibility here of like acting like this and having this ego and acting like she's always right. But the people around her treat her with kid gloves. They're like, look how good she did it. It's like, guys, just treat her like an adult, and maybe that'll push her towards acting like an adult. But when you treat her like this, it gives her full reign to just be a monster at all times, and no one's holding her accountable. And I think that's really like a Melissa, because Melissa's scared of her. They're scared of her.
Yeah, and I think part of it is like, I don't know how if you're not going to help her change her actions, then like, if you're just trying to avoid the actions, but that like enables the behavior so much more.
Right.
Yeah, this part especially is just like, stop it right now. This is, there are ways to fix this. It's called therapy. There are strategies that we can be using here versus like, well, she never would apologize 5 years ago. So we should really just like accept this for what it is.
Right.
Then, so Margaret's saying like, that's not an apology. Melissa's saying it's a start. Margaret's saying no, it's not. And then they start like talking about eating dinner. Let's eat dinner. And then Teresa makes the comment, Margaret always eats dinner.
Never misses a meal or something like that. Yeah, this is where I can't defend Teresa on this. It's so unnecessary and uncalled for.
Jackie at the table.
Yeah, totally uncalled for.
because if I'm Jackie, my thought process is, oh, okay, so if I get to Margaret's size, this is what these
Right.
are the type of comments I'm gonna deal with. And like
Yeah. Not
Margaret's
okay from
not
Teresa at all.
big. Like,
No. No.
and even if she is, who gives a fuck? Like in some cultures, having some extra weight on you means you're rich because they know
Yeah.
you aren't missing a meal, and that's a great place to be.
Right.
Yeah, that was like she going to that level to me was like,
It's a low blow. That was a
yeah.
low blow. I don't like in general how this season has been so like focused on the women's looks in general. From Teresa, she's done it, and I think they did it a lot at the beginning of the season about Jen and her nose job and her chin implant. Like, I just don't like that. I think these women are above that and should always act like they're above that. And when they
Mhm.
stoop down to this level, it's just not. First of all, it's bad TV. It's not entertaining. It's kind of gross, and it's just mean. It's just downright mean, and I don't. It's uncalled for
Yeah,
across the board.
I agree. And it gets to the point where Melissa, nope, I'm lying to you. Teresa and
Mhm.
Margaret are like yelling at each other, but Teresa is like trying to yell at Melissa to be like, tell her to shut the fuck up. Like, Melissa,
Mhm.
tell your friend. She's your friend. If she's your friend, like, you need to tell her this. And I know that in Teresa versus Melissa, you're team Teresa, but like, I
Mhm.
genuinely felt for Melissa there. Like, why is she being put in the middle of this? I get why, but
Yeah.
why? Like, I
Yeah. I don't
it's why
know.
do you need this middle adult? Like, okay, she's related to you through marriage, so you want her to defend you because you're family, but at the same time, like, you're doing things that are indefensible.
Yes, I think this all has really deep roots that'll come out when you watch a lot of the back seasons because so many of the past seasons of the show have been like Teresa versus Melissa,
Mhm.
including Joe versus Joe, and it's just and Joe versus Teresa. So I think like there's a lot of history there that it's just so obvious that Melissa and Teresa still hate each other and that they're just putting on an appearance to make it seem like they don't, just to keep the family cohesive because they both lost their parent. Joe and Teresa lost both of their parents. Teresa's divorced. She's going through a lot. So they're trying to bury it, but it's all going to bubble up very soon. I think it probably already has bubbled up very soon. Already, I mean. But this is just part of it, I think, where Teresa wants Melissa to constantly be proving her loyalty to her. But I think on the flip side, like we did see a lot of that with like, oh, Teresa stayed at Jen's house when she threw me out of the house. Like it's kind of on both sides, but Teresa's just so much more like brazen about it.
Mhm.
Because we got the flashback of Teresa saying, if you want to have any relationship with me at all or whatever, like you need to choose a side, essentially. Um, which is a little wild. It's a little wild.
It to me, it seems like very blind in the fact
Yeah.
of like you have to make this choice right here
Yeah.
because you are married to my brother.
Mhm.
And I felt for her in this because she's kind of just sitting there like, what am I supposed to do? Like,
Right.
if I defend Teresa, then I'm an asshole. But if I side with Margaret, then like, oh, I'm not following the family or whatever. Like, she really
Yeah.
doesn't have. There's no right choice for her.
Right.
Everything feels like it's going to have these repercussions, and I feel like, and obviously, like, I don't know the history and stuff, but in this moment, it's just like shit. Like, can't. Why does this have to involve her? If Melissa hadn't sat next to
Yeah.
Margaret, like if Melissa had sat where Tiki was, is this even an issue? Like, is it because she's next to Margaret that there's this like in between? Or is
Hmm.
Teresa going to be yelling down the table to Melissa, pick a side, tell
I
your
think she would have
friend?
still yelled down the table to pick a
Really?
side. I think so. Yeah. I think
'Cause-
this is like a clear way for Melissa to prove her loyalty to Teresa. And this was a test for
Mhm,
Teresa to finally say, Melissa's on my side or she's not on my side. And this, whatever Melissa chose, would have been like the answer that Teresa was
mhm.
looking for. I think Melissa could have tried maybe to just de-escalate the situation instead of just like sitting there being like, ugh. But I don't. At the same time, I don't think that there's a way that she wins.
I don't think there's a way to de-escalate Teresa. Is the other
I
thing.
there's probably not. Yeah, there's probably not.
Um, yeah, I just wonder if it wasn't like Margaret turning to Melissa and being like, this isn't an apology. If she's making these comments in someone else's ear,
Mhm.
does it escalate to like tell your fucking friend Melissa? You know what I mean? That it would be interesting. However, that's obviously a hypothetical, and we leave the situation in this moment of like Melissa needing to choose between the rock and the hard place.
Yep. Well, Melissa was on Watch What Happens Live with Jackie. And she revealed that she has not spoken to Teresa since filming the reunion. So I have a feeling that things are not good again with Teresa. I don't think things were ever good. I think they pretended like they were good. And I think at this point they are back to potentially what they used to be. So we'll see. Especially because Teresa also revealed that Melissa is not her bridesmaid on Watch What Happens Live because someone asked. And then she's like, don't make it a thing. Which again, I don't think it's like the worst thing in the world. I think she's gonna have she's not having Dolores as bridesmaid either. So it's probably like her daughters, Dina, who is a former housewife, maybe Louis' sisters. I don't know. But yeah, there's obviously some tension between the family.
Yeah. Imagine though if Melissa didn't have Teresa as a bridesmaid. If the roles were reversed and Melissa's like, don't make it a thing. I feel like Teresa would have been waiting backstage, like
totally
with like a WWE entrance ready for
yes,
whatever were to happen after that.
Yes. Well, if it weren't for Joe, Teresa and Melissa would never be friends. Ever, ever. So
yeah. That's where we leave it. Next week is our last new episode of New Jersey before the reunion.
I can't believe it.
And we're going to be moving on to some different series. I do think that there's a chance that we're going to, and we haven't really talked about this recently, but I think there's more people that watch Atlanta or Real Housewives of Atlanta and Potomac, which both start soon, and maybe even Beverly Hills, that like we might be bringing in some outside voices besides.
Yeah.
You've had 16 straight of us. You might need a break, but bring in some outside opinion. So like I've enjoyed this as my first season of New Jersey. I am very ready for Potomac to be coming. Well, Potomac's still filming, so
Potomac is still filming.
That won't be filmed or soon. It'll be Dubai, which maybe other people will start watching in Dubai.
Yeah.
And then Real Housewives of Atlanta and Beverly Hills. So I'm ready for a new transition.
We have a lot.
More because I want to ditch like Orange County more than anything else.
I think it'll be good to have a fresh start with some new women to talk about. Not new. I mean, there will be some new women, but like it feels like between Salt Lake City, which was like our entire lives worth of content, and then OC, which has just been a slog. And New Jersey, I think it's just tough to talk about the season of New Jersey because it's just like so Teresa versus everybody that it's just like, okay, I'm ready for it. Even though it's short, I'm ready for it to end. We're not going to get any resolution here. Like, let's get to the reunion and see where we all end up. We don't need to drag it out for 5 more weeks for more episodes when nothing is going to change.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's have some new reasons for women to hate each other. And
the Atlanta season looks like it's going to be fresh and fun and dramatic, and I really, really am excited. I'm so excited to have Sheree back. I'm excited to see Marlo as a full-time housewife. I'm just excited. I feel like I'm due. I've read a lot saying like Atlanta's back because the last couple of seasons have been a little lackluster for Atlanta, so I'm really excited. I think this one's going to be a good one.
I'm excited to get to talk about Atlanta, having like been fully immersed into it. As this is the franchise I'm currently watching. So I'm ready to get to talk versus like my little end of podcast updates of where I'm at, which I don't really have too much of an update right now because I spent the last week watching Real World. So I watched a little bit this morning. Otherwise, like I'll be...
Well, you're almost done, right? You're in the final season?
Yeah, I have the rest of the season and then I think next season and then or the season after, and then I'll be current. So, I basically have a week to get through a season. I'm not sure if I will, but I will try my best. Because the other thing is I might have to buy that season. I don't know if it's on Hulu, which is fine. Like I'd rather than have to put up with commercials. So it's all good. But yeah, that's coming up soon. But we do have some news to talk about before we leave this platform.
We do.
Let's start with the NeNe Leakes news because I
Okay.
want to end on a happier note.
Yeah. Yeah.
So NeNe Leakes is suing Bravo
Yes. And Andy Cohen.
and Andy Cohen
Hmm.
for, is it fostering a racist workspace?
I believe so. Yeah.
Something along
Because of
those lines.
their employment of Kim Zolciak.
Right.
Yeah.
And so at face value for that, what was your thought? Before you read anything else, before you got into the articles, to Reddit, whatever. When you saw that, what was
Yeah.
your response?
Well, my first response was like, okay, I guess we're never getting NeNe back.
You did say
Because
that.
I thought there was a chance. I had heard, so before this came out, NeNe was saying a lot of things that were like alluding to like being silenced and treated differently and treated poorly by the production company. So there
Mhm.
were like murmurs that she didn't leave on the best terms. I wouldn't even say murmurs, like she was saying that she didn't leave on the best terms.
Mhm.
But it seemed like things were getting better. I heard that she had lunch with Andy Cohen. So I was like, okay, maybe there's some like repairing of these relationships and maybe we'll get NeNe back at one point. And then I saw this and I was like, okay, well, I guess things went south or continued to go south. So I I don't feel qualified to say anything either way. Obviously, what NeNe feels is valid, and I think it has to be valid because no one would have picked up this case if it weren't valid. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think she would be able to find a lawyer who would say, "Yeah, this you have a case here," if it wasn't valid. I think, some of the examples that I read, Kim is a racist. I think we know this. Like, we can say Kim is a racist. We've watched it. We've watched her say racist things on the show. I just am I'm a little confused. I'm just a little confused is all. Like why now? There's things coming up from like season 1.
Mhm.
I guess I'm just confused.
That's the biggest thing for me was like, wait, against Kim, like the Kim hasn't been on in seasons, and
Yeah.
why is this happening now? So I'm wondering if something else happened, and NeNe's like, okay, well, here's a way that like I can retaliate, I guess. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's been some talk online of like how Kim and NeNe are still like friendly or were friendly up until last year. Like there's an Instagram live of them
mhm.
together talking, which I don't want to say like that discounts anything that NeNe is saying because
Right.
Kim, I mean, the stuff that Kim did it's on camera. I don't know. I mean, and we know that Bravo fosters racism because like every single housewife that's all majority white has at least one blatant racist. I mean, we have Ramona, we have Kelly Dodd, we have Jenny, we
Mhm.
have a lot of racism runs
Yeah.
rampant on Bravo.
Yeah.
Not only on the Housewives, we had it on Below Deck this past season of the classic Below Deck where the chief stew said the N word in front of the one black female uh, deckhand. It's like we had it on Vanderpump Rules where Faith is now
Yeah.
suing. It's just like we know Bravo fosters racism. There's no denying that. I guess I'm just confused about why now. I think.
Yeah, I'm confused about why now, and then also my second question is like, I guess like why NeNe? Because
Mm.
there's also like it's filmed of her doing things that are racially insensitive as well, like
Mm.
um, whether it was encouraging blackface or calling someone who is half black, half white something degrading. I'm not going to repeat what it
Mm.
is. That's like,
Mm.
if you are looking to stick it to Bravo in a legal way to like, okay, you need to catch up with the times and stop fostering racism, then like, is there someone different you can use as your person for it?
Yeah.
Um, so that's kind of where my confusion lies as well.
Yeah.
But I'm not a lawyer,
Right.
and um, I'm just in what we've seen of NeNe. When NeNe is good, she is great to watch on TV, and she's great to have as a person in your life. When
Yeah.
NeNe isn't good, she's trying to take down anyone and everyone around her.
Right.
When NeNe's hurt, other people need to be hurting. they don't need to be hurting for the same reason as her. And I'm just wondering if we're seeing that in legal form right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, who am I to say either way
Right.
if this is like valid or not? I can't. Like, I will say, obviously, like Nene has experienced racism. I don't know what's gonna happen from this,
Yeah.
though. But I'm sad about it because I would love to eventually have like once things are like more calm with Nene and she can like get a little bit more grounded. It would have been great to have her back on the show.
Mm-hmm.
But
Doesn't look like it's gonna happen.
it's not gonna happen. Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
All right. Well, the
We'll
other
miss you,
news.
Nene.
Yeah.
I support Nene.
I want her to do well.
Yeah.
I think because I'm like very much caught up in Real Housewives of Atlanta right now that it's like riding the waves of Nene is just like kind of tumultuous.
Yeah, it is. I mean, even watching not in a binge and watching season to season, it was a tumultuous, tumultuous relationship with Nene. But overall, I support her and I believe what she's saying. And if Bravo needs to face legal action on it just to fix things as a whole on their platform, then maybe it's a good thing. Because obviously they don't handle racism well and they have faced a lot of issues with it and instances of it.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you.
So maybe this is the push they need to reevaluate some things.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Like, okay, let's take one of the biggest names from the Real Housewives series in general and have her be the face of this. Like, it carries more weight than if it's like, I don't know, name a one-off from a season of one of the shows or whatever. So
yeah, I mean, Nene is an icon outside. Nene, I think, did a lot to like put Housewives on the map for a new audience.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta in general did, but I really think specifically Nene has been just such an icon.
Mm-hmm.
She's the most like memed housewife of all time. She's huge. She's a star.
Yeah.
She's probably the most A-list. Maybe Bethany, but Bethany's trash. So Nene, I mean, is like probably the most A-list. Done the most to bring in a new audience to the network. So it's just sad that the relationship had to end this way, but I support her.
Yeah. Other women we support are Ashley Darby finally divorcing her scumbag of a husband.
Predator.
Yeah. What? I mean, I love that it was basically like
5 years to the day since she updated that prenup on the show.
Yeah. She told him the game plan.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, this is what I'm
She
gonna
basically
do.
did, yeah.
She kind of like Michael Jordan this shit. Like, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I'm gonna do to you, and I'm still gonna do it. Like, there's gonna be no way for you to defend this. So like, game, set, match, I'm out.
Yeah. Good for her. Yeah. Get your money. I'm sorry that you had to have kids that share genes with this man, though. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't want that. But good for you. And then we'll see single Ashley. I'm ready for it.
Single Ashley
I'm
next
ready.
season. I don't know if we'll get. Do you think we'll get a lot of single Ashley this season that they're filming?
I think we'll get something. I think we'll get something. She hates that man. She doesn't love Michael.
Yeah.
I think the mourning period has been over with him. So this is probably just the paperwork phase.
I am excited for what this will bring out of Ashley, because she already to me is like a top tier housewife in terms of just like what she brings to the show. Like, I don't know if she'll ever be like one of my favorites, but just like her ability to be transparent on camera and what she gets out of the other women because of not caring. Like, she owns, I'm on a reality TV show. Like, you are going to see my life. She doesn't try to hide much shit. That single Ashley. I mean, we're in for it.
We are. Ashley keeps us fed.
Yes.
And she's going to continue to keep us fed because I agree with you. She's not my favorite housewife. Sometimes I don't really like her personally, but I respect the game that she brings to the Housewives. She is a top tier housewife, 100%.
I hope she gets as much custody of the kids as she can, and I hope she gets as much money out of him as she can.
Same.
That's what I'm rooting for.
Totally agree.
With that being said, I think we've reached. Is there any other Housewives news we need to talk about? I don't really think I've seen anything else.
No, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure there is, but I think that's. Oh, the only other thing I wanted to say is that. Sorry to have to bring up the scars of OC again, but Tamra posted that she's on Shannon's side on the reunion, which I thought was really interesting because she and Shannon famously had a falling out. And she said, I hate to see a gang up. So she's on Shannon's side. She specifically said, I'm on Shannon's side. So I would love to see Tamra come back and maybe join forces with Shannon and
I
take down
want
Heather. But I
Tamra
know she's still
back.
friends with Heather. So like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I just want Tamra back, period.
I want all of like the OGs, close to OG, not like OG, but like Tamra. Like I've said, I'll take Vicky. I, I don't want to say it again. Don't make me say it again.
I'm not
But
going to. No one's
yeah,
encouraging you to. It's only you that's encouraging you to.
I know. I don't know what's wrong with me. I've cooled on it a little bit. That was like hot off the presses after I watched the YouTube video. I'm like, yeah, they're all friends. Bring it back. But now I'm like, we could do it with the three. Let's get the Trace Amigas back together.
Yeah, I agree. Bring back at least. I mean, I don't really want Vicky back, but I definitely want Tamara back. And if we have to take Vicky, fine. I like not liking her. I think is what it comes.
Yeah, she's a villain that we need to root. She's the person that we need to root against. You know.
Yeah.
We need one. We need one.
I just straight up like Ramona, and I don't want her on my TV anymore.
No,
and
Ramona's not even entertaining anymore.
She kind of like Vicky is kind of in like the Luann class for me of like I can tolerate her being on my TV. However, it's only because like I like when I have a distinguished enemy. Like I've started a new job, I already have a established enemy. Yeah, this dude was so rude to me.
Oh my god.
He and this is a direct quote. I was sitting next to him and he was like fixing my computer and he had been talking me through it. And then there's like a silence for maybe a couple of minutes. And he goes, okay, so when did this start? And I went to answer and he turns, puts his hand in my face and goes, I wasn't talking to you. We are in an empty office. Like it is me and him and that's it. And I was like, I'm on this like 90-day it's not a probationary period, but I don't know what it's called. Like, you know, like you have to be on your best behavior for 90 days. And if I wasn't,
this man put his hand in your face?
It was like yay far. I wasn't talking to you.
I'm shocked. Then who the fuck was he talking to?
Himself. And how am I supposed to know that when you had been talking to me previous to that and there's no one around us?
I am shocked. I'm shocked.
And this
I'm heated for you. I'd be like, then who the fuck were you talking to, sir? There's only two of us in this room. I know you can't.
All I said was, how am I supposed to know you aren't talking to me?
I'm the only other person here.
How am I?
This would be a natural assumption that you were speaking to me. I'm the only other person in the room.
Yeah, not on the phone, anything like that. But I went into this hot because so I had issues like filing my time card for the first week, and so I had to like get a help desk ticket. They called, they like remoted into my computer, trying to do some things, and the guy is like, is your computer always this slow? I'm like, well, I got it Tuesday, so this is kind of like what it's been. I don't know what fast is if this is slow. And he's like, I'm gonna put another help desk ticket in for you. So like this was a separate dude. So then hand and face guy calls me and was like, okay, so what's up with your computer? And I told him like, listen, an IT guy was remoting into mine doing something else, and he said it's slow. He checked the memory, it's using too much. Like and he goes, well, do you think it's slow? And I'm like, well, I only have this since Tuesday. Like, this is how it's run. And he's like, okay, but so you don't know if it's slow or not. I'm like, I just don't have anything to compare it to in terms of like understanding what's fast for this computer. He goes, so have you never used a computer before? To which my response was, I come from the world of public education where they give you something that's 25 years old and they say make the best of it. So I don't know what to expect from the technology that I'm given from this hospital of how well it's supposed to work. So does that put into perspective for you?
Oh my God.
So I have an enemy.
What is wrong with this man?
Dude,
yeah, no, you have not. I have an enemy now of this man. I cannot believe this.
And how this relates back is I love having like a very concrete enemy in whatever aspect of what I'm doing, so that I like can just push all my negative emotions in that direction and root for everyone else.
Yep.
So That's why I'm okay with like a Vicky coming back, because that she is my IT guy at work.
I totally relate. I get it.
Yeah. So that's that. But yeah, anything else we need to talk about Real Housewives?
I don't think so. I'm shocked we made this last for 2 hours
I know.
with these two kind of lackluster episodes that we had.
True. We talked about Noelle a lot in the first episode.
We did.
That part took up a decent amount, but otherwise, like, there's a lot to talk about with Teresa because she's
I
like so
know.
complex.
She sparks a lot of conversation.
Yeah, and it's like two differing opinions on it as well.
Mhm,
Because
mhm.
a lot of the other stuff, I feel like OC, where both of us agree, like,
Yeah.
all right, fuck this shit. But like
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
it's easier to have a more elaborate
Mhm.
conversation on because of the dynamic that she brings to the show.
Yes.
Well, good news is you can follow us online.
Yes.
And
for
we
more
talk
of
more
our
about this
hot
stuff.
takes. Yeah.
You can see me post more dumb things about the I know I haven't posted anything about the IT guy because I'm not gonna get fired from this job yet.
No, don't get yeah.
I didn't post
At least
anything.
wait your 90 days.
Yeah, I'm holding out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what are you doing on the internet these days, Katie?
So you can follow me at Real Slim Katie on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/RealSlimKatie_. Play some games, do a little talking, do a little chatting, talk a lot about reality TV there too. If you want some more unfiltered takes about like Big Brother, Survivor, Housewives, whatever, Real World. You can also find me on Silent Podcasts covering Big Brother Canada. We did our final 5 ranking yesterday. We're finally at the final 5 of the season. The season has been wild so far. So covering that with Isaiah, Josiane, Lance when he's available to make it. So it's a really good crew. And then you can find me as well on our brand new podcast, Stop Being Polite, where we talk about the real world, New Orleans, Homecoming. We'll be shortly recording an original season recap to share to set all the context for the amazing stuff we're about to see on our TV for the next couple of weeks.
That podcast is pulling some numbers. We're proud of that one.
We are really proud of it.
And
we are.
We're trying to put that out the night that the show premieres, so you can get that quickly. But if you want to hear us like not complain as much, then listen to that one because that like we were like genuinely happy watching.
It put us in truly like a great mood to talk about this show. Like it puts me in a good mood just to think about it. I love it so much.
And you can find me on Twitter, KGD26. I'm currently tweeting about people's misuse of the word gaslight and how angry it makes me. So if you want to chime in on that conversation, and I had a tweet blow up in the Survivor world this week.
Me too.
Oh, yours probably blew up more than mine did. When I say blow up, anything that gets like more than 10 likes from people who don't follow me, that's like me blowing up.
Yeah.
What was yours?
600 likes.
Oh, I wasn't there.
I was like 650 now, I think.
Oh, what did you say?
I said I also eat 4,000 calories a day, and I don't look like Jonathan because Jonathan says he eats 4,000 calories a day. So that's why. That's what happened.
Solid. Mine was just like making fun of like the Twitter fans on Survivor because, or the on Twitter because everyone just gets, not everyone, that's a vast overstatement, but like gets into this like emotional breakdown anytime Tori does something good. And like I get that our little community has like their own knowledge of her because of her involvement with the mini that kind of like popped off minis. I don't know if we're allowed to say the name, but so like I get that. However, there's just like no new negative things about her, and so I tweeted like the timelines breakdown of when like Tori does anything. It's hilarious to me. It's genuinely hilarious. Like you have all these people like caps locks, like, oh my god, not Tori winning. Like shut up.
They have a breakdown.
Yeah, like let it go. It's fine. Like I get it. She's not vaccinated. I truly understand that is, but like if that's the only thing you're using against her, she is like trying to play. Like is she great at this game? I don't even know, but she's beaten the fucking Hulk in 2 straight immunity challenges.
That's true.
Like,
That's true.
just she's not gonna win, and if she does, whatever. Like, that's not gonna be. I actually kind of like. I don't want her to win, but dude, Twitter if she
No.
wins will be. It's gonna be that the dog sitting there with like everything on fire. Like, this is fine. It'll be that. But like just calm down. Just relax. It's gonna be okay, Twitter. So yeah, that blew up, and I had people like commenting on her plight, which I just don't fucking understand. But like, I'm like, I really don't know what you mean. So yeah, in conclusion, that's my Twitter life. You can follow me on TikTok. I'm trying to post more TikToks. So put some likes up there, and you don't have to follow me on Instagram. I really don't do much on there. I just watch things on Instagram. So yeah, do that. But like Katie said, first I'll only take this banner down and then put up where you can follow us. Here we go. So follow Silent Podcasts on Twitch and YouTube under the name Silent Podcast. Subscribe to us. We are on Twitter, silent_podcast. You've got coverage of Survivor with Gia. You have coverage of Top Chef with Gia, Naomi, and Nicole. And they've been bringing on guests every week. Gia's also been bringing on guests for Survivor. So, like, you're getting outside perspectives there as well. You have, like Katie mentioned, Big Brother Canada. That's getting to the end. And does that also mean we're getting to, like, a really cool interview soon?
Soon. We'll announce it when we can, but we have a good guest coming up.
Cool. And then most importantly, besides this podcast, you have our other podcast called Stop Being Polite, where we're talking about the real world homecoming. And I don't think a lot of other people are. So great place to chime in and not just chime in, but listen in and hear our takes. We'll probably have some guests on for that as well. And we are very soon, we mean today, going to record the season recap of the original one back from all the way in 2000. So to kind of like help put some perspective onto why some of the things in this homecoming season are happening. We'll talk about that there. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff coming up and happening now. So subscribe, let us know what you like, what you don't like, and why we are your favorite people to listen to. So that's that. But we will be back next week with another New Jersey OC week, likely our last OC for a while.
Yep.
And the final non-reunion episode in New Jersey. So
yeah,
we'll have some like culminating things to talk about next week, hopefully. But until then, enjoy your week. And then if you aren't doing anything like soon, keep an eye out for the tweet of when we go live for Stop Being Polite, when we talk about the original season. But until then, enjoy your Housewives. We'll see you next week. The Silent Podcast for anything but silent. Adios.
Bye.